Welcome to the Explainer. So let me ask you something. What could a rock, a tree, and an animal possibly teach you about your own life? Well, today we're going to explore a framework for growth that's been hiding in plain sight, all around us in the natural world.
Let's just dive right in. Wouldn't it be a relief if the blueprint for your own personal development wasn't buried in some super complex philosophy, but was actually reflected all around you? In the simple, observable stages of life right here on Earth? So here's our roadmap. We're going to start with this core idea of nature's mirror. Then we'll walk through the 4 stages of development: the mineral mind, the plant life, animal instinct, and finally, human potential. And to wrap it all up, we'll look at what's driving this whole process, your path of expansion. Let's see how our own consciousness mirrors this amazing natural evolution. All right, let's start at the absolute beginning, the foundation. Stage 1, the mineral mind. This represents the psychological bedrock that everything else is going to be built on. I want you to just picture a mineral, a rock. It's totally static, right? It's unmoving. It doesn't grow, it just is. Psychologically, this is a mirror for a state of pure taking. It's a level of selfishness that isn't, it's not malicious or evil. It's just the absolute non-negotiable need for survival at the very start of life. And the parallel here is just undeniable, isn't it? An infant is completely dependent, just like that mineral is static. Think about it. When they grasp your finger, their entire being is screaming, "Mine." Their whole world revolves completely around their own needs. And that's a necessary, self-focused foundation for the incredible journey ahead. Okay, so from that totally static foundation, something begins to shift. In our second stage, what we're calling plant life, we start to see the very first signs of active growth. Think about it for a second. A plant can reach for the sun, it can grow taller every single day. But it can't just decide to uproot itself and move to a sunnier spot. It's totally forced to endure its environment, for better or worse. So yeah, growth is happening, but it's happening inside a set of fixed, unchangeable limits. And isn't it just impossible to ignore the similarity here? A toddler learns to walk, to explore, but their world is still contained. They are completely subject to the rules of the home, just like a plant is subject to the soil and the weather. They are absolutely growing, but they aren't free, not yet. Now, this is where we see a huge leap forward. Stage 3, animal instinct. It introduces 2 massive game changers: freedom of movement and a powerful new driver that operates from deep, deep within. So at this level, we finally have physical freedom. An animal can pretty much roam wherever it wants. But its behavior, it's still kind of on autopilot. It's dictated by subconscious, emotionally driven habits. It's operating on raw instinct, not introspection. Would it be a bad idea to think about our own gut feelings as this exact same ancient internal prod? You know that feeling that tells you something just isn't right, that pushes you towards safety? Well, that's instinct. It's that internal stick, guiding you, pushing you towards survival. And it's so important to see the difference here. On one hand, you've got that raw, fight or flight instinct. But on the other hand, you have emotional habits, and these are the patterns we build up over time that become our second nature, our automatic default emotional responses to things. And that brings us to the final stage. This is the one that defines our unique potential among all other life forms on this planet. This is where we finally get to break the pattern. And this really is the fundamental difference, isn't it? An animal is, for the most part, trapped by its programming, but a human can step back and actually observe that programming. We have this unique, incredible ability to see our habits, to question our instincts, and to consciously choose a different path. So that ability to consciously choose, well, it brings us to the final piece of this whole puzzle. What is the fundamental engine that's driving this entire journey, from mineral all the way to human, and even beyond? When you look really closely, you see that all of life is this constant dance, this push and pull between 2 forces. You've got the pull of contraction, that's the safety of pulling in, protecting yourself, staying right where it's comfortable. And then you have the push of expansion, which is our destiny, to grow, to reach out, to become more than we currently are. And once you see this rhythm, you really start to see it everywhere. A baby is fully contracted in the womb, and its very first act in the world is to stretch out and expand. Your pupils contract in bright light and expand in the dark. Your own heart beats with this exact rhythm. It contracts to push blood out and expands to fill back up. It is literally the pulse of life itself.
So it seems pretty obvious that going back to that safe, comfortable state, contraction, is our default setting. But isn't it also clear that our very nature, and maybe the universe itself, is just hardwired for growth? Expansion isn't just some option on the table, it's our destiny. Because of that, it would be a huge mistake to think this journey is just a straight line. It's so much more like a spiral. Think about the beautiful patterns in seashells, or even in entire galaxies. We keep revisiting the same life themes: security, growth, our relationships, but each time we come back around, we're facing them from a higher level of awareness. Real growth always spirals upward. And this leaves us with one final, and I think pretty provocative thought. Would it be ridiculous to suggest that reaching the human stage isn't the finish line? That maybe, just maybe, it's only the starting platform for our real, conscious expansion? The question isn't just about what stage you're in right now, but what you are truly destined to expand into next.